setup for non-sleep deep rest and Yoga Nidra. I'm so excited to share this tutorial with you on best practices for comfort when you're doing non-sleep deep rest and Yoga Nidra. It's really important to establish an environment where you can relax completely, because trying to be still for the several minutes of Yoga Nidra can be very, very distracting if you're in pain or if you're just not comfortable. So step one, you found yourself into a dark, quiet space, as dark as you can tolerate. And then step two is whatever you're laying upon, it needs to be comfortable for you. So for some, laying on a mattress is best, or a couch is best. For me, I like to lay down on a yoga mat with a blanket or a couple of blankets on top. Secondly, you want to make sure that your hips are supported so that your psoas doesn't end up firing away and distracting you with low back pain or sacral pain during the practice. Here's what I mean by that. When you recline, just laying down flat out, your hips are in neutral, but really the psoas is elongated and it's extended. The longer you rest here, your brain has a certain resting tone for all of your muscles. And if you happen to have recurrent low back pain or any hip discrepancies, for many people, the psoas will start to tighten over the course of a Yoga Nidra. And when the psoas starts to tighten, it will start to arch your lower back away from the floor, creating low back discomfort in some, and for others, it creates an unbelievable amount of pressure on the sacrum itself. It's intolerable, and you'll want to fidget. So to minimize that distraction, it's really helpful to stick a bolster underneath your knees, or a stack of blankets, or a couple of pillows. Here I have the bolster at the highest end, which I love, or you can have it flatter, obviously. And as soon as your knees are bent like this and your hips have a little bit of a fold in them, then the psoas go slack and you don't have to worry about the possibility of that low back discomfort. Other things to concern yourself with for comfort that I find are just beautiful bonuses are a little bit of support for your head and neck. I have this weird thing that when I'm laying down for more than 10 minutes, the back of my skull starts to ache. So if I can minimize pressure of my skull on the floor, that's a win for me. So what I've MacGyvered here is something akin to a neck cradle that you might find in a massage therapist's office, a massage therapist table. So what I do is I tightly roll up the end of my blanket, and I'm going to create a little corona, a little crown, a halo of sorts by folding the ends in and making a really tight little puppet-looking thing. You can see this also in the Body by Breath book. And then somehow managing to keep that in place while you've got your bolster. And hopefully my ponytail will be able to stick in here. And then the head is actually suspended. Oh God, that feels so good. The head is suspended like this, and I'm not going to have that undue skull pressure. Now, there are also a few people out there for whom the elbow angle in resting starts to become intolerable just because of the carrying angle of their elbow. And for many people also, the forearms and the hands don't touch the floor. So a really great way to build comfort for those people is to put blankets underneath the forearm and hand and wrist so that the forearm, hand, and wrist aren't hanging out in the air, or if the elbow happens to be a position of intolerable discomfort, you can also bundle up and put extra padding underneath the elbow. Finally, warmth is one of those conditions of comfort that is so wonderful. Almost finally. We have two more things to discuss. So here, you want to make sure that when you get back on your back, you've got your blanket option to drape over you. This is a nice, warm, delicious, thick wool blanket that I love to surround myself with. And then the last bit is, this isn't for everybody, but eye pillows can be extremely relaxing. Number one, they induce a ton of darkness. And number two, the pressure on the eyeballs themselves sets up a parasympathetic reflex arc, and that helps us to compound our parasympathetic response. So take the time to experiment with different options of setup so that you can maximize your ideal and optimal setup for non-sleep deep rest and Yoga Nidra.